Let's do a quick May reflection. I want to throw these little portions into some of my videos to just kind of talk about some of the things that I've been reflecting on lately. One of the things I've been thinking about recently is how achieving your sort of dream life or dream lifestyle is not an overnight thing. It sounds obvious, but I think I always had it in my head that once I achieved working for myself, every other puzzle piece would fall into place. I'd be perfectly happy and healthy. I would never waste time. I'd be extremely efficient at everything I did. I'd have the perfect apartment, the perfect life. Obviously, that's just not the case. And so I feel like this season of my life is me getting super intentional, me dialing in on the day-to-day things that make up my lifestyle and figuring out what I can improve on. One of the major pros of getting to work for myself right now is the freedom to build my days the way I want to. And yet I don't feel like my days are as active or as full of excitement and novelty as I would ideally like them to be. And some of that might just be where I'm at right now. I'm still pretty financially limited, but in the ways that I can, I want to move towards that ideal lifestyle. Part of that is cutting out some of the low priority, low quality things in my life, which means that I'm pretty much entirely trying to cut out time spent on my phone, time spent consuming content. I've become super aware recently of just how much time I waste in those in-between moments between tasks where I reach for my phone. Being my own boss isn't an excuse to be super distracted and inefficient. In fact, it means that I should be being as efficient and as focused as possible because the stuff that I'm working on is stuff that I care about and I want to thrive and I want to succeed. That's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. Those are my current rambles, and let's get into the vlog. Welcome to another writing vlog working on draft 3 of my debut novel. It is an adult dystopian fantasy titled Unraveling. This is draft 2 of it in physical form, and we are continuing the trek of draft 3 in today's vlog. We just got to the end of chapter 11, which also happens to be the end of act 1 in draft 3, which feels like it flew by. Frankly, I think I have my all-day writing day to thank for that because I got so much progress in that one day that I feel like it just jump-started this whole revision. Honestly, I feel like more intensive writing days is what I've realized I want to create for myself because that was awesome. So yeah, we've just kind of reached the end of act 1, and I'm approaching things a little bit differently with draft 3 than I did in draft 2, which I've been talking about throughout the draft 3 revision vlogs. With draft 2, I was really focused on just like getting to the end of that draft. It took a really long time, and so I adapted a mentality of like, once I was past a chapter, it was locked, I wasn't looking back, and I was trudging forward, almost like you would in a first draft. I really wasn't like doing passes, going back and reworking things, and I wasn't really going back to fix things that I wanted to change in earlier chapters. That's changing with draft 3 because of just like the fact that this is a later draft in the book. I've talked in the last few vlogs about how I have this whole revision checklist, which is essentially just a Word document that I filled up with a ton of bullet points of all of the notes that I took when I did the read through of draft 2. This has been incredibly useful in my revision process so far. I'm still absolutely loving this strategy, and it's something that I'm going to continue using for the rest of draft 3 and potentially future drafts as well, at least until developmental edits are wrapped up. So for this weekend, I'm hoping to spend today and tomorrow really focused on this draft and revision. Let's set some goals. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go back to chapter, let me reference my revision plan to see what chapter it was. Okay, chapter 3, I believe. I need to go back to chapter 3. I essentially want to rework the part where my main character tells the love interest about the wall. This is kind of like one of those almost prophecy sharing moments. It's like a moment where one character is telling the other character about like a story, like a world building element, you know? And what I'm struggling with is the way that it stands now just feels a little cheesy. It's very much like, I don't know how to naturally make our main character be like, and here's the story, and I'm gonna tell it to you without being ridiculous sounding. And I'm struggling. So I want to experiment with the possibility of weaving the memory of the first time that our main character heard about the wall, which is like the story that she's telling, into this scene. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I wanna give it a shot. So we're gonna revisit chapter 3 first. The reason why I'm doing this now is because with draft 3, I'm taking more of an approach of wanting to solidify act 1 before I move on to the rest of the book, wanting to solidify act 2 before I move on to the rest of the book. And that means like going back and doing another pass potentially. Which brings us to the next thing that I really want to accomplish this weekend, which is actually to do a full read through of Act 1 as it stands in draft 3 and assess if there's anything else that I want to change before I dive into Act 2. Now, why am I choosing to do this? Because one might argue that this is a less efficient way to get through the draft because I'm going back, I'm potentially making additional changes. Here's why. My logic is that by getting the beginning really solid, I'll be able to make better informed changes in the rest of the book. And that's really the goal, right? Is to have all the changes like kind of compound on each other and work with each other. And that's why I'm going to be doing additional read-throughs and tweaking as I get through each act. And I feel like I've really been learning and embracing the power of read-throughs. It was something that I wasn't doing very frequently when I drafted and when I did draft 2. And frankly, I have Alyssa to thank for this because she really inspired me. And honestly, all of my friends as well are constantly bringing up this thing that Alyssa had said in one of her videos, which is just like that she really gets a lot of value from doing rounds and rounds of read-throughs and passes of edits as opposed to just like one massive edit that spans a really long time. And I've been really inspired by that strategy of just like doing multiple rounds and like re-experiencing the book as it evolves. So I also want to make sure that when I do go into Act 2, I'm basing the tone and the feeling of that off of the draft 3 version of Act 1 and not the draft 2 version of Act 1 that's still in my head because that was the last thing I read. Does that make sense? So what I'm thinking is I'm actually going to export Act 1 from Scrivener as a PDF. I was thinking about printing it out on printer paper, but I do think that that would just like slow down the pace of things quite a bit. So I'm going to just do a PDF. And then I'm thinking I'm going to read that whole thing, take any notes on the side of things that I do still want to tweak. Hopefully it will be limited because I do feel pretty good about the work that I did in draft 3. There might be a list of, 10, 20 things. I hope it's not like a ton. I hope future me is not watching this being like, and then I would love to start implementing some of those changes this weekend so that then I can fully dive into Act 2 at writing group this week. So those are my plans. Today is a Saturday and we are going to go to the one and only pottery cafe that I've been absolutely obsessed with. It is the ultimate ambiance. I think it's like my current fixation cafe. I love it. It's not overly expensive. I can get a bagel and a drink for like $10, which I know that that doesn't sound like an insane deal, but it is. In my neighborhood lately, I've been paying $8 to $9 every time I get a drink, which is just like obscene, actually obscene. So to get both a drink and a bagel for $10, I'm going to count my lucky stars. So we're going to go to the Pottery Cafe, and I think the main goal for this session is just going to be to reckon with Chapter 3. And then if we are on a roll and I'm ending up staying at the cafe for a longer time than I'm anticipating, maybe we can also do the PDF read-through situation, because realistically, reading through Act 1 shouldn't take me that long. It's not that long. It's like 20-something K words. It's 11 chapters, which is funny because even though I've added so much to this setup portion, I do think it's still relatively on the shorter side compared to like a lot of my friends' setups. They'll be talking about like 17 chapter Act 1s or whatever, and I'm just sitting there like, really? My Act 1 used to be like 5 chapters, and that's why we changed it. It's fine. I hope everyone's writing projects is going well and that you're excited to hang out with me today and work on draft 3. I did set a 40,000 word goal in TRACKBEAR for this month. Frankly, I don't know how realistic it is. We're going to try our very, very best. And this weekend is the kickstart to that. Regardless of whether or not I'm working at the pace that I was like dreaming to be working at, I'm still really proud of how this draft is going so far. And I think that that's the more important thing at the end of the day. Yay! Okay, let's head out to the cafe. Okay, I'm going to attempt to film this update even though my battery is flashing. We'll see if I get through it or not. We got back from the pottery cafe. It was a super successful session. I ended up wrestling with chapter 3 for quite some time, and when I'm kind of stuck on a scene like this, my go-to method is just trial and error, like trying out multiple options. And so I ended up exploring 2 options. One was attempting to weave that memory that we talked about into the scene, incorporating the first time that my main character heard about the wall into her telling the love interest about the wall in the present. Didn't end up really working out. I didn't hate it, but I just felt like it was pulling too much attention away from the interaction at hand, which obviously needs to be the focus. So then I also just tried a version where I essentially simplified the way that she was explaining it, which I have attempted before, but I've never quite been able to crack it. And I finally feel like I got a decent flow down that doesn't feel too overly cheesy or over dramatized. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna let it sit for now. It might be a thing that I revisit months down the line or whatever and just look at with fresh eyes. But I did end up exporting the entirety of Act 1 as a PDF to review. And so that's what I've been working on. I'm about 60 pages into the PDF now. I don't know why I was expecting the PDF to be like 30 pages. It's over 100. But the read through is flying and I'm making tons of notes in this cutesy little black notebook. Just when I ran out of pages is when we decided to leave the cafe. So it was kind of perfect timing. Basically, how this read-through has been going is that I'm basing what needs to be changed based on whether or not I can picture that moment in my head. In general, at this stage of the process, I'm really able to vividly picture everything that's happening. So basically, whenever that visualization snags, for example, like the characters are having a discussion and then a piece of body language throws me off and makes me no longer able to picture that natural progression, that's something that I'll flag because it means to me that that isn't in the right place or it's the wrong fit. And so that's been a lot of what I'm marking is just moments where the scene that I'm picturing playing out in my head snags and there's like something clearly wrong there because I can't picture it, or when I do picture it, it just feels off for the characters. So that's been kind of nice. It's been like pretty obvious to me what does and doesn't need to change at this point based on what I'm snagging on essentially. So I've been taking notes. Thankfully, nothing I've come across has been drastic or even things that I anticipate will really affect future chapters or the progression of the story. It's been more on a scene level, paragraph level type stuff. I still am planning to implement these changes before continuing though, just to like get things as solid as I can at this stage to reduce the amount of work that I have to do later. If I can see these problems now, I might as well fix them before I continue on to a different section of the book and my focus switches. I want to keep writing today. It's about 4:30 now. Natalie and Taylor are actually doing some writing sprints on FaceTime, so I might try to hop into that and just write in the coziness of my own home for the rest of the evening because I'm really on a roll and because I feel like I'm really immersed right now in the book, which I've been struggling a little bit with immersion, I feel like, for the last week or two. I want to take full advantage of that and I don't want to break my flow. So I definitely want to finish the read through and note taking today, and then I would love to see if I can even implement some of these changes tonight. I'm probably just going to full send on writing stuff for the rest of the night, which is going to be so fun. Then tomorrow I have lots of writing already built into my day. I have a FaceTime scheduled and I have a live stream for the first time in like months. I'm going on to Anna's channel, so it's going to be a writing focused weekend and I'm really excited about that. Low-key, read-throughs are becoming like my favorite part of the process. I just love it. It's so cool to get to appreciate all the work that you've done and also just to see the story from that bird's eye view. I just can't quite believe that I've worked on 100 printer pages worth of material in the past like month. Like that's just mind-blowing to me, and it feels so cool to be able to work through the book at a faster pace at this stage in the process. I feel like with some tweaks and some little sprinkles and finessing, it's going to be in a really good place, and I'm going to feel really proud of Act 1 going forward, which is awesome. My camera's for sure going to die. I'll see you guys shortly.
Me too. Hi. I'm 27. Oh my gosh, you're even younger.
I'm 25.
25?
Yeah.
Well, every word hit like a prism out of color that was wasted. I could see through every layer. This was heaven, I could taste it. Tapping on the counter, terracotta floor.
broke my camera. Yeah, so I did in fact break my camera lens. Thankfully, the body of the camera started responding shortly after this incident. This is your reminder if you're a vlogger, attach your camera to your tripod. Don't make the mistake that I did because I regret it deeply and it was a $150 mistake. Yeah. We're fine now. The lens has been replaced. Good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm making some eggs. Thought we would do a very quick catch up while they cook. I have a FaceTime planned in a few minutes with Emily Thompson, so we're gonna keep this snappy because I have to get to that. Last night, I ended up writing with Natalie and Taylor for multiple hours, and I finished the read through of Act 1, including the note taking. Thankfully, nothing major came up. There are small things that I want to tweak. It's pretty much line editing stuff that I want to tweak in Act 1, but I was thrilled that nothing stuck out to me on a plot level, at least at this point. I don't feel like any scenes are missing. I feel like the plot progression flows. I feel like we get to where we need to be emotionally by the beginning of Act 2. Like I feel a lot stronger about it. And if you guys have been keeping up with the revision vlogs, there was a whole section of the book where the characterization was really off. Like my main character was not acting like herself. She was annoying me, etc. And I did have a couple of those bad characterization chapters in Act 1, and they just flow and fit a lot better with the rest of Act 1 now. I'm no longer bothered by my main character's behavior. She feels like she's acting consistently to how she's been throughout the book up until this point. Because I did do more drastic reworking and rewriting on those chapters, they will probably need a little bit more brushing up in the next couple drafts than some of the other Act 1 chapters, but that's okay. I feel like they're heading in the right direction. They're in a good place, which is awesome to see. So today, Sunday, I think we are going to go for it and just start implementing some of these Act 1 changes. I don't know, frankly, how long implementing these changes is going to take. I have a feeling it's going to be on the shorter side, but I don't want to make any crazy claims. So we're just going to make as much progress as we can today, though we do have a heavy writing day planned between this FaceTime date and then my live stream later. So I could see us making a lot of progress. And I'm going to be thrilled with the amount that I wrote this week just from yesterday and today's progress, which is great to see. Yeah, okay. I'm going to attend to my eggs and then I'm going to call Emily. I got through 5 chapters of implementing tweaks while I was on FaceTime with Emily. It's going very quickly. I think it's because a lot of it is very line level. I'm not even having to reread the full chapter, just a small section to help me like get grounded a little. But all of the changes, I feel like I did the mental work while I was reading through because I was basically writing down what I wanted to change things to in the notes themselves. So this process has been really quick. There's 11 chapters in Act 1. We've gotten through 5, so we have 6 to do tonight. I've just started chapter 6. This is the frog dissection scene. If you know, you know. I've mentioned this, I think, in another vlog. I did, in fact, consult with some friends to get some information about how frogs are dissected. Apparently, everyone did this in high school besides me. I feel suddenly very left out to have not experienced this, but they gave me some information, so I'm correcting all of the frog dissection lingo and description in this chapter. Realistically, we don't need to be getting into the nitty-gritty of how to dissect a frog in this. I'm just like making small tweaks to make sure there's nothing incorrect in there. And yeah, it's just, it feels so insane and weird to move through chapters at this pace at this point. And obviously it's because these are not major changes, but it's still really bizarre to go through such a substantial section of the plot in like a quick pace. Can you tell I'm a first-time reviser? I'm like so not used to this. I feel like the only experience I know is it taking like 6 months to go through the whole book. And so it's just a little hard for me to mentally wrap my brain around at this point, but I'm loving it. It's been so fun. And I had a really great time with Emily as well. We did so much chatting about our stories, which was really nice. And I actually told her about a new story idea, and I use the word idea very loosely. It is like the barest of bare bones Stone's Seeds, but a new paranormal fantasy book that's been kind of stewing in my brain. I told her a little bit about that, and that was kind of exciting because I don't think I've very sparingly mentioned it to people so far. But everyone who I have told it to has been like really excited by the potential. Like, oh, I could so see how that could be such a cool vibe, like blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of exciting. I'm honestly thinking I might do like some brainstorming and plotting either for that project or for Project Planes, which is the contemporary that I have currently on the back burner. I'm thinking I might do some brainstorming and plotting for that at some point soonish, actually. Like, I don't think plotting another book or brainstorming another book is going to affect or like have a really damaging impact on my ability to work on my current project, as long as I don't let myself get too swept up in it. Just doing some minor exploration, I don't feel like that would be an issue. So I might be doing a little bit of brainstorming soon, just because really intrigued by these two ideas. Realistically, I think the smart move would be to do the contemporary first, because I think the contemporary will be just a lot less of an investment. I think the fantasy would obviously take a lot more world building and be a lot more involved. So I think it would be smart to use the contemporary project that I have on my back burner as like a palette cleanser project in between the duology and the new fantasy concept, even though I do think that new fantasy would be a standalone, so it wouldn't be that crazy in scope. Anyway, maybe you guys will be hearing a little bit more about some of these back burner projects soon. But for now, we're going to stay focused. It's almost 4:30. I have my live stream with Anna in just about half an hour, which actually I'm realizing I really need to get going. I really want to get a matcha frappuccino. It has been on my mind all day. I want to try making one of these at home at some point, but I think today I'm just going to go out and get one because it has literally been living in my brain rent free all day. I don't know if it's like the slightly summerier vibes today. I did put on a sweatshirt because I think I was in overkill wearing short sleeves. It's not that hot today, but it has been low-key very hot on other days. Also, I'm well aware that we've been doing so much writing at my desk in this vlog, but that's just kind of been how this weekend has been, so I hope you guys don't mind. Okay, let's go get a little frappuccino. I'm so excited. We are officially live stream ready. I've got my headphones ready to go. I got my grande matcha frappuccino, which is so good, by the way. I'm now just waiting on the live stream link from Anna so that I can get all signed in and ready to rock. I did take multiple months off of live streams, and in case you were a regular live stream attendee and you were like, where the heck did all these live streams go? I just needed a bit of a break, but I am excited to start streaming again. I just feel like the live stream space became so constant that it felt kind of good to just take a breather and regroup. And I'm excited to write with you guys again tonight. So hoping to see some familiar faces in the chat. I need to go log in because it's only 10 minutes out from our start time. I'll talk to you guys maybe later. Yay! We've got direct bright sunlight right now. My apartment is north facing, so we get like golden light in the evening. We just finished up the live stream with Anna. Thank you so much if you were there. It was really fun. Yeah, it was super productive. We got through a few more chapters of implementing these little tweaks. So we did a ton of question answering and it just felt really good, and I haven't done a live in so long, so it was fun to get back into it. I do really want to start doing lives on my channel again. I think I'm going to approach lives a little differently. I was doing live streams a lot with big groups a couple months ago, and I did like that group dynamic, but I do think there's something like a little bit more chill and comfortable about a live with just like one guest, so that it can feel like a little bit more of a heart-to-heart, one-on-one sort of situation. I don't even remember where I was before the live stream. I finished out chapter 6 and chapter 7, so I have about 4 chapters left. I honestly think it's gonna go pretty quickly. I'm feeling really encouraged. I'm feeling really excited. It feels really good to be feeling really reconnected with a sense of community too. All the writing I've been doing with friends this weekend, like, I feel like I was not doing that as much for a minute there, and it left me feeling less connected and inspired, and to be feeling more fully integrated back into my authortube community in the past couple days has really left me feeling excited about writing and supported, and I just feel really like connected and full of purpose right now, and that's just really special. So we did also hit 10K subscribers on the channel recently. I think the next time you guys are going to see me, we're actually going to be doing a little 10K celebration with my writing group. So I'll probably see you guys on Tuesday. I think we're going to do a little cake and champagne celebration after writing group on Tuesday. So, but yeah, I do think next vlog will be fully working through Act 2, which I just feel like it's really starting to get real that this book is moving along, and it really does feel like it's not far off from being beta reader ready. At least Act 1, I'm like, yeah, this could go to beta readers, and that's crazy. We're getting close to the point where other people are going to see this book, and that's mind-blowing. Yay! Okay.
Oh my God!